Monsters have a very bad time in the elevator. I'll show you what happens. When you're doing your fetch quests, make sure that the elevator is on the same level as you. Otherwise, Bendy will do you in like just then. Actually, saying that, there's no point with the combat, because if you die, you just respawn at these statues anyway with no penalty. It's not like System Shock 2, where every time you die, you come out of a sphere, but you've lost resources, so there is a punishment towards it. In Bioshock, which I believe was made by many of the same people, that's where the name comes from, System Shock and Bioshock, because it's a spiritual successor to the Shock series. But in Bioshock, what happens is, again, there is no penalty to that. This scene here with the creature, the projectionist, and he's walking through, and that ruler, again, looks like a Big Daddy from Bioshock. Oh, bloody hell. What, they just disappeared?
Makes my skin crawl. But the task is done. Bring me back my equipment, please.
If you load the game, there is a chance that the monsters will just spawn immediately where you're standing, like within the second of you loading in.
Everyone's walking around here like Grandma just died. Nothing but angry faces everywhere. These people gotta lighten up. I mean, hello, you make cartoons. Your job is to make people laugh. I'm telling you, if these people don't start cracking a smile every now and then, I'm out of here.
Once upon a time, there was an angel, and she was beautiful and loved by all. She was perfect, no matter what Joey says.
I actually quite like the voice acting, but I don't like that Wally Franks guy just because of the "I'm out of here" line that he keeps spouting. I remember him saying it in the previous chapters too. As we were going down the elevator, you could see Boris is hiding and you can hear the heartbeat. Bendy was actually appearing as we were travelling down. This room, she's quite a gal. You will see this room so many times. This entire chapter is a series of fetch quests.
The machines are hungry. Gather me some spare parts.
Grab 5 of this item or destroy 5 of this item. Return here and then carry on. It's dull. Now we have to return to level K, where we've already been before. And then after we've completed this objective, you have to return again to do another objective. There's no reason why you can't do both at the same time, as they're both in the same location. But no, you have to keep going back and forth, because Bendy and the Ink Machine just loves padding itself out. You can convince the monsters to follow you in the elevator, and all that happens is you press the button to go up and down, but the monsters stay where they were before. They don't travel with you, so they're just suspended in limbo, and then they just die or respawn. This is where we met a member of the Butcher Gang for the first time, and we'll be coming back here again. Later on, Alice Angel will want us to destroy all of the cardboard cutouts here. Looking at these clocks I quite enjoy. Reminds me very much of that episode of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, where the singing clock is talking to the puppets. That show is very bizarre, but also very good. It's about 3 animal children, but they're like puppets, apart from one of them who's a guy in a costume, and they're constantly being visited by inanimate objects like, say, a singing pencil or a singing clock, stuff like that. They're telling the children messages and advice on things like religion and how to love, or how to be creative, or food and how to eat healthy. But it's all very distorted. Like in the episode about food, it's encouraging them to be very unhealthy. They're saying things like, you should eat pizza, that's good for you. If you eat vegetables, your teeth will go grey. The entirety of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is a massive stab on advertisements and today's media, and how it basically lies to you. And it tries to trick you, particularly children, to buy their products even if it's very bad for them. Like things like Cookie Crisps have very cute animals on them, like little cartoon wolves and cartoon bunnies. Hey, look at these, it looks like cookies, it's good for you, you should eat it every day. But they contain incredibly heavy amounts of sugar and salt on them, and so you really should be avoiding them. The show is fantastic and I very much recommend it. It's far more interesting than Bendy and Ink Machine. But then again, a Tabasco sauce enema would be more entertaining than Bendy and the fucking ink machine. I've played through this twice now, it's not a good experience. The game I want to play after I've finished with this is something called Howtown. I'll go into more detail about Howtown when I do finally start playing it, which may be today. It's a bit awkward right now because I have a new job, and so my time to actually record and upload is very limited. Though saying that, it's not like I was ever active to begin with my uploads. I have never kept a schedule. Sometimes I'll go 1 or 2 months without a single upload. Other times I'll do 2 videos in the space of about a week. But those incidents are very, very rare with me. It's mainly because of how long it takes just to edit everything, particularly the audio. I'm very particular about audio. And I'll spend hours just editing an audio track of me talking for about 50 minutes or so. Constantly going back and forth, changing things, just to try and make it good. That's the only thing I don't like about YouTube. The actual games itself and interacting with people is always a hell of a lot of fun. You can see throughout this level there are all these candles everywhere, but who the hell is lighting them all?
Ah, that should be plenty. Return them to me. And try not to die on the way back.
This game is constantly lagging out. And I don't think it's my recording, because I didn't have this problem when I was recording Duck Season, and that's a virtual reality game. Those games run at 90 frames a second and have quite high requirements, so it probably is just Bendy. Well, I could be wrong. So you can see this cardboard cutout here. It's a bit weird. The only way to access it is by standing in this area, but why would you ever come here? The reason for that is because Alice Angel wants us to come back to this exact floor to destroy these cutouts. Why she didn't just tell us before is because, well, she wants to pad the game out, so we're playing it for even longer.
Still, he was once a very handsome man.
We're going to convince this guy to come in with us. Let's see what happens, and he goes flying. Forrest looks happy. He's a bit underused. All he does is stand there, he doesn't really do anything. Once again, doing the exact same thing as we've done several times before. You head to this doorway and pop in the items Alice wants. She'll give you a new weapon. You head to a floor you've been to several times before. You head back here and it carries on.
See those grinning demons? Let's remove them, shall we? I've got just the tool to make this even more enjoyable.
Visit level K and beware the ink demon. Quite unusual that we're only getting the tip now to beware of Bendy, when he's been appearing several times already. We've just been to level K, now we've got to go back here. And then once we've done, we head back to Alice Angel. It just keeps going on and on, it's so repetitive. I was reading Steam reviews for this chapter, and there are several reviews saying things like, "This is honestly the greatest game that I have ever played in my lifetime." Very, very weird reviews where they're hyping this up as the best creation in all of games media. And it's not in the slightest. I have played games that one single person has developed in the space of a single week that are better than this. And honestly there are competitions like the 1 week challenge, and one such game is Receiver. It's on Steam. The dude made it in like a week, and that's honestly a hell of a lot more fun than Bendy. Cheaper as well. This game's actually getting quite expensive. Chapter 1 is completely free, but chapter 2 is about £5, and so is 3. And there's going to be 2 more chapters, so this is about a £20 game. Everything is constantly being repeated over and over again. There's nothing new. Well, I say there's nothing new. The only thing that is new, other than, well, the characters and the voices, are the Bendy stealth mechanics where you have to hide in the lockers. But that's very poorly done. This is also weird. When you cut them, they just crumble into pieces. They don't get slashed like in Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion. The developers made it a very clear point that if you cut them, they will be cut in half. It was awesome. Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, some people don't like that game, calling it a walking simulator, and I get where they're coming from, but that was far better than this. And that game's going to have an update rather soon, adding in the Steam Workshop support. That's something I'll do a video of. I'm very looking forward to see what the community have on offer. I myself have no imagination whatsoever, so I won't be making any levels myself, but I'll enjoy watching other people's and playing through them, of course. So you can see that these bendy cutouts. It looks like they're clipping through the floor somewhat. The bins keep doing that as well. Here's one thing I do like though, is that you can cut these barrels and ink will just keep spewing out of them. If you attack them enough, they explode. I've only ever seen one game that does this really well, and that game was Time Splitters 2. In that, there were these barrels of wine, and if you shoot them, you see wine is actually spewing out. The game simulates the amount of fluid that's in there. Shoot in the middle of the barrel, a load of wine pours out, and then after a few seconds it stops. Shoot below it, more wine will pour out, but if you shoot above it, nothing comes out because the wine's all poured out from the top already. And it's fantastic. I don't know a single game since then that has done anything like that. It was superb. And that game came out 2 generations ago. Time Splitters 2 was fantastic, one of the greatest games of the PlayStation 2 era. Metal Gear Solid 2 is another game that was made well before its time. It was superb with just how detailed it was. If you shoot a soldier's hand, he can't use the radio with that hand anymore. If you shoot his radio, the radio breaks. If you shoot his leg, he limps, and you can see bloodstains appear in the individual areas you have shot. There is a bucket of ice. If you shoot the bucket, the ice will start to melt before you. You can shoot a glass bottle in individual locations and the glass will shatter only in that one area. It was incredible. And there are games that have come out this year that are nowhere near to how detailed and just how full of life and character those titles were, even though they are on much older hardware. And games today have much greater budgets, but what we are seeing is mainly superficial stuff, like a character's hair has individual strands, stuff like that. I'd much rather have a character whose hair is literally a block, but you can shoot wine barrels and the wine comes out in individual strands, or you can shoot a glass bottle and the glass breaks individual segments, as opposed to having barrels that are just as decorations and a character has, say, 50 million strands of hair. Yeah, it looks impressive at all, but that's just something you look at. It's not really something you interact with in the world. Unless, of course, you count running your character back and forward really fast to see how the hair reacts with the environment or the character's shoulders or what they're holding. I don't think there ever will be a Time Splitters 4. I did like number 3, and there were news saying that they were thinking about Time Splitters 4, and there is character artwork for the 4th game, but I think the company's gone. I'm not actually sure what happened to Free Radical in the end.
Now that was fun. Oh, but I forgot to mention, he hates it when I do that. I would hope.
When we are given the objective, the game in the tips say beware the ink demon. After we complete the objective, Alice Angel says beware of Bendy. I don't know why, we've not even seen him. Look, he's not here. We are given warning saying beware the ink demon. He hates it when you attack the cutouts. But where is he? He isn't here. Boris is there cowering, but no, there's no Bendy. So we are given this disconnection between what the characters are saying and what is actually happening in the world. And it's something that happens constantly. Kill them, screams Alice. Here's a tip. Kill the butcher gang. The game just treats you like such an idiot where it has to keep telling you the same things constantly. What you want to do is, oh for God's sake, the monster's coming behind me. If you're wounded, just stand back and you will auto heal. There's different tactics for these guys. For this monkey looking dude with the weird head, all you do is step back and then smack him. For the other two, just circle strafe around them and that's it. It's like Call of Duty, you got regenerating health. By the power of circle strafe, I am completely invisible to them. It completely trivialises this event. Circle strafing is the oldest tactic in 3D fighting games, and it's good to know that habits do remain even now.
So quiet, like a welcoming grave. I like the silence. Don't you? Oh, I hate leaving work unfinished. lift down. Say hello to an old friend. Sending you a little present. A little firepower. Take good care of it. It belonged to someone very special.
We're given multiple weapons throughout this chapter. You've had a plunger, a wrench, a syringe, and an axe. But they all behave completely identical. There is no difference between them at all. Now we are going to get a gun, but actually we're not.
I forgot. It's a little hard to get a hold of. Oh well. Better luck next time.
What's the point in that? Here, an exciting weapon. Oh, no, you don't actually get to have it. No, we can't do that. That would involve us having to actually put in gun mechanics. So now we have to descend to the depths to collect 5 of this item. Again, collecting items and hidden object finders, that's all this is. And according to Steam reviews from quite a number of people, this is meant to be the greatest game that has ever existed out of the many thousands. I don't actually know how many games exist. I myself own over 1,000 games on the PC alone. I do know good games when I see them, and this is not one of them.
Shh. There he is. The projectionist. Skulking in the darkness. You be sure to stay out of his light. If you don't want trouble. Just bring me back the pieces I need.
I'm surprised the game didn't give us a tip saying be sure to stay out of the light just in case you didn't catch it from Alice. Here's a respawning statue, so you don't have to stay out of his light at all. Oh dear. Oh my, yeah, he's actually coming at me. Unfortunately, we are quite slow under the ink. The guy seems to be deaf. As long as he doesn't look at you, you're fine. He also has a very short memory span like all the monsters. As soon as he's out of your vision, that's it. Doesn't care. This scene is pretty boring, but then again, you can say the same about all of this.
No, I'm not looking for trouble. It's just the nature of us projectionists to seek out the dark places. You see, I've learned the ins and outs of this here studio. I know how to avoid being bothered by the likes of this company. That projectionist, they always say, creeping around. He's just looking for trouble. Well, trouble or not, I sees everything. They don't even know when I'm watching. Even when I'm right behind them.
I quite like looking at these little projections of Bendy. That's a nice touch. This game could have been something else entirely. It could have been something beautiful. Like Cuphead. Cuphead looks fantastic. I've not played it myself, but I've seen gameplay videos of it. It looks great. The art style is incredible. And the assets that they have created for it look super unique and interesting. A far cry from Bendy's rather dull colour palette they use, and how it likes to repeat the same environments again. Well, more than that even. It likes to... oh fuck's sake, it's chasing me. We also have to visit them multiple times. Bendy in Hell in a Handbasket. This poster looks really awesome. Stuff like this is great. The game does have heart, but only in one area, and that's the style of its appearance. Other than that, no, it's so dull. When I completed chapter 2, I was looking forward to what 3 would offer, hoping there'd be improvements. But it's only getting worse, and I suspect that 4 will be terrible, and I dread to think what 5 will be like. 3 bacon soup advertisements. This reminds me of that scene in, I think it was Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi version. Mary Jane gets a Broadway musical role as a main character. There's this moment where you're looking at this wall and there are about 400 posters all lined up together. It's quite surreal just seeing just how many of the identical posters are just plastered on the wall. I don't know how that helps them advertise it in any way, considering they're immediately next to one another. And there's so many. Maybe that was a point, maybe it was like a parody of oversaturation in the advertising media. Or maybe that's me giving them too much credit. Who knows? Phrasing. Once again, we encounter Boris being completely useless as ever. There's practically no point as to why Boris is even here. He doesn't talk, he doesn't really do anything. He helped us out at the very beginning, but only after we bribed him with soup.
You've reached the end of my to-do list, my little errand boy. I hope you enjoyed our time together.
I really did not.
Always treasure it. Return to the lift. It's time to go home.
We get to go home. Oh, how are we ever going to suspect your sudden and inevitable betrayal?
Have you ever wondered what heaven is like? I like to dream that it's quite beautiful. A soft valley of green grass, blanketed by a warm sun. I don't think I'll ever get to see it. Are you ready to ascend, my little errand boy? The heavens are waiting.
This scene is pointless. It's obvious she's going to betray you. Why are you even taunting us with this whole, you get to go home, it's over? It's chapter 3, there are 2 more chapters left. By the existence of 2 future chapters, she has to betray you. And now, of course, you get this evil laugh. We, the player, are supposed to be like, oh no, how could she? She was supposed to be our friend. It's so silly. No, I didn't think you'd let me go. Alice says, do you think I would let you go? But it's so obvious that no, she wouldn't let you go. Why is this even a piece of dialogue? One thing I did like was the ending where Boris is screaming into the abyss like the end of Paranormal Activity. But yes, that's it with Bendy. I don't have to play this game again until chapter 4 comes out. When I next see you, it will be a much better game, I hope, with Helltown. After I've done with that, I do need to do chapter 2 of Duck Season, and of course episode 3 of Rimworld. Within the weeks and months I will be going through them if I can. But for now, I hope you had more fun watching this than I did playing it. I don't recommend this. There are much better things out there. Take care.